There you go. I want to restart the recording as of right now so that you can come back and just listen to this part. Let's get to it. We're going to talk about the funding field in the arts. We're going to talk a little bit about the different forms of funding that we can access. We're going to talk about the grant specific that we're gonna be working with. They just released the actual application, so we're already going to start working on your particular application today, which is, I don't know about you, but I'm really excited. Um, the first thing that we need to understand when we're talking about funding in the arts in the year 2021, the thing that we need to understand is that we are living, the government that we are under right now has been adopting policies or a philosophy, basically, a political philosophy that is called neoliberalism, right? Neoliberalism is based on the idea that the government should shrink to the minimal uh, size possible because it considers that private enterprise is more um, what is this more beneficial, more efficient, more efficient. Now, you might have your disagreements or not with it. I personally have a lot of disagreements with that, but the truth, the reality is that we are living in this form of government currently. So why is it important to say this? Well, because we need to understand that the government has been advocating a lot of its responsibilities to the private enterprise. Things like health, education, of course, the arts and culture are in that category. So the way that they do it is, oh, you know what? We're going to give massive tax cuts to big corporations, to big organizations, to people that is rich, as long as they use some of this money in these different areas, in the areas of health, in the areas of arts and culture, in the areas of education, and many other social services that the government should be supplying to the community, to society. Now we have a lot of non-profits that are doing the things that in other times the you know the Secretary of Health would be doing, the Secretary of Social Services would be doing. So why is it important to say this? Why is it important to understand that this is how it works? Because this percolates down to our ground level, right? To the street level where we are artists trying to make a living, trying to get supported. And then we have to go and appeal to organizations, both from the government and from private enterprise or foundations or individual donors or, all of these actors that we're going to mention in a little bit. And we have to submit a grant application that proves that you are a qualified person, that you have the characteristics needed for the project in at hand, uh, and that you're going to be offering the organization, even the California Arts Council, the San Francisco Arts Commission, the LA Culture Department, all of these entities, the National Endowment for the Arts. You're offering them your work. You're like, hey, I am aligned with your values and I can offer you these goals with my project. You have to give me this money. And then they look around and they see other artists or other organization who's like, oh, you know what? They're offering you this, but I am offering you, they're offering you that, but I am offering you this. This is more, this is like bigger grants, bigger goals, more measurable goals, more achievable goals, and our resume proves that we have been doing it more consistently for longer. So when you have these two different options, you're like, oh, you know what? This is more reliable and this is giving me more for my money. Okay. So then we're going to grant this person this money because we consider that these goals are more important, more achievable, more ready to be done than what this other person is offering to us. And this is this is why it's important to understand it, because when you're writing a grant, you're basically competing with other people in offering this service, in providing this service as if they were hiring an outsourcing um, service of arts and culture. All right. Any questions? Any comments? Any doubts? No? Um, you're going to see that these organizations come in different forms and shapes. Well, you may be familiar with the concept of a 501c3, right? Um, there are other forms, other figures of organizations, particularly 501c4 is a type of organization that deals with political, like specific political advocacy. So, for example, if you apply for a grant with a 501c3, they're not going to allow you to do certain sorts of political activism with that money, with those funds, right? Um, the truth, my friend, is that the revolution is not going to be supported by a 501c3. The revolution will not be televised. However, in this point, at this moment, it makes sense that we access those funds to keep building the capacity of our work, of our organizations, of our community organizing. So I want to be very clear about this. This is not how we're going to change the system. This is working within the system. And I want to fully acknowledge that because, you know, I understand that we are radical artists trying to do transcendental work for this society. Um, but what it is possible is to pay your rent, to pay your bills, and to give you some breathing room to actually plan the revolution. Okay. Um, I wrote this some letters like CAC, NEA, SFAC. What does this all mean? The NEA is the National Endowment for the Arts. This is the organization. It's not the Secretary of Arts again. Understanding that the government has been trying to get rid of bureaucracy, and in the way they're creating more bureaucracy, they're just not calling it part of the government. The National Endowment for the Arts is the kind of like the federal level organization that is working with the arts and the artists. So they grant a lot of money to re-granting entities. We're gonna look into all of that. They re-grant funds, for example, to the California Arts Council, right? This is the state secretary of culture, and also to other organizations like the San Francisco Arts Commission, which is the local level organization, right? Every one of these organizations have different roles and different focuses, but the easier way to understand is you have your federal, your state, your local. You will have sometimes regional organizations. You will have organizations like NALAC, the National Association for Latin American Cultures, which focuses exclusively on the work of Latinx folks, or Latinx, Hispanic, Chicanx, all of this rainbow of identities. You will have more hyper local and focused organizations like the Mission Cultural Center for Latino Arts, which caters to the Latinx community in San Francisco, right? Or the African American, what is this? The AAA double C, Therese?
Can you say that again?
The African American as
Culture Center?
yeah, is the AAA double C, or
Yeah,
is it
African
double A triple
American
C? African American
Culture Center.
Community Cultural Complex, or community, yeah, exactly. So who's specifically working with um, the African American community in San Francisco, right? For example.
Yeah.
This is all important to say because we are going to take time to do research on all of these organizations. They all offer grants, they all offer fellowships, they all offer different possibilities and opportunities. And as we, when we graduate from this course and this training, we will have clarity on that the CAC, this grant that we're applying for, is not the only grant that we have access to, is not the only thing that we can do to get funding in our work. Um, and that actually it takes research, it takes time. But once you create and develop a calendar, that you can actually write in your Google Calendar. You will have a list of grants that you will be applying through the year. And hey, sometimes some of them you're gonna get, some of them you're not gonna get, and that is okay, right? But the consecution of applying for, say, 10 grants a year, will assure that you will get at least one, two, three, five, maybe 10. Um, and this is the money that you will have to um, continue doing your practice and expand it, right? There are other ways. Ya no está llorando con esto. There are other ways to fund your work through sponsorships, through crowdfunding programs, right? GoFundMe.com, through individual donor programs. Hey, how about you become my patron and every month you give me one, two, five, $10 to keep supporting me, or every time that I put out content, you keep donating to me, right? These are all ways in which we can, put out our work out there and let others know that we're willing to get supported. Considering again that money is just one of the energies necessary to develop our practice, there's all of these other energies. We already talked about them: time, energy, creativity, social connections, and of course, money. Um, and that we need to foster a relationship between all of those energies in order to really expand and grow. The triple A double C. There you go. What is it stands for, Therese?
African American Art Culture Complex.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Pretty cool organization. If you haven't uh, connect with them or seen them, please become acquainted with it. Um, and so, of course, in this course, we're not going to get in depth on all the other ways, all the other forms of funding. We're definitely going to do some of that in the future, some sort of training, coaching around that. But for now, we're going to focus exclusively on grants and exclusively on one specific grant, which is the Individual Artist Fellowship by the California Arts Council. Let's get to it. Look at this. Look at this right here. They just released the application instructions. Oh, actually, look at this. Look at this. Okay. They finally completed all of these links. You can come in here, click in the application instructions, and it's going to open it right here. Okay. Now, I want you to come and read it. It's actually very short. I was surprised at how short this was. And it's a little tricky, guys. This application is a little tricky. Therese and I had the experience of applying and supporting people in applying for the San Francisco Arts Commission application last December, November, December. Um, and it was a lot more specific on the things that they wanted, and it was a lot more thorough in the content that you need to submit. It appears to be very loose, but that is what is going that's what is going to make it a specific and special, very special challenge when we're filling it up. Now, the first thing that you need to do when you are um, engaging in creating a grant application is this thing we call pooling the grant. Okay. You all had the experience of pooling the grant, of working with a pool grant last week when we did the quick grant. This means we're going to have a document separated from the website, separated from the system, where we're going to be writing the questions and the specifics of it. For example, this is the question: describe how you came to be an artist, your traditions and artist practices, all of this thing. And then at the end, it reads 700 words, right? So we want to do it. We want to create our Google document in which we are going to be extracting all of these questions and writing 700 words. Because when we fill it up, Google Docs has this ability to count your words, and you're going to be able to see that you're already, 300 words in, 400 words in, or that you're already, like past it, you're 752 words. It means that you need to shave, we call it shaving, you need to shave 52 words from your content, okay? So your second homework, besides setting the arena every day as much as possible in the next couple of weeks, this is your second homework. You're gonna have to come and pull this grant application from it and create a document where you're going to be doing this. But for right now, and because we want to give um, um, solidify the content of the course, and we want to work with you in this with the same framework. Your pooled applications might come out a little different, but I created a master pooled application that we're going to be using. Okay, it's right here. And again, are you going to say something, Therese?
Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to nail this, or to reinforce this by saying we're going to be working on this, but I want to see all of your pulled applications next week. Okay, because this is this is something that will take practice on your part. This some you're going to have to do this for every grant that you apply for. Yeah.
I would like to add something about the application. I would like to say a couple things about the application process.
Yeah.
So give me one moment here. The first thing I there's a couple things that I would recommend. Save, 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 and save, and save again. Have like your primary document, your application document, the final one that you're going to have it be a different document than your draft. So as you like, you're going to have this template, but like, just keep saving your information so that when you get to the point of where you're like, my statement is good, you move it to your final application. And like, you create one that's your final application so that you're never losing what your final application is, because you could have like, worked on your artist statement in a number of iterations and not have saved the one that was the last one that you wanted. So don't put anything in your final template until you have your draft, and then you have your final template. Don't put anything in your final until you're actually like, this is what's going to go in the application, so that you can track your changes. A wonderful piece of advice that I got from someone who, I guess I wouldn't call it advice, I would call it more of an observation, from someone who does a lot of jewelry, sits on a lot of juries, and receives, enough money as a muralist to live full time and to like forecast usually 6 months into the following year. The observation they had was some of the most successful applications are the ones that it's clear that this person's going to do this project, whether they get this particular grant or not. And one of the opportunities when you're shifting your mindset about getting clear with clarity, focus, ease, and grace on what it is you're actually doing, ideally, by the time you finish this application, you're going to be like, you know what? I am like 300% clear on what I want to do. And whether it's this grant or the next grant, I'm going to get this project funded. And also, especially because there's 700 words, just seeing like all of this is a bigger investment than just this one fellowship. You're investing in your runway so that you can plug this in to other grants. So it's well worth it. It's like where you're putting your focus energy is on getting this funded, getting your art funded, whether it's in this grant or another grant.
Yeah. So as you engage with this template, you will experience different things. My experience working with other artists is that some of them like to have everything here. Some of them like to have different documents for every specific question. As Therese was pointing out, you know, like you might have a specific document for certain things, and then save this as the kind of like the sacred, like last step before you just submit it. Um, it's up to you guys. It really, you know, I really want you to think about this as a guideline, not as like a must. Um, this is something that I personally find really useful, and that has been working for me. And this is also a really useful way for us to review your advance, the things that you're writing, and to make comments, right? For example, you're gonna come here and say, you know, you're gonna say something, and then I'm gonna come and see this, and I will probably come and make a note here, and say this could be clearer with some statistics, right? For example. So when you come, so this we're gonna be sharing, we're gonna do a little process, but we're gonna be working collaboratively on these documents. And so the first thing that I want is for you to make a copy. Actually, I think I'm just gonna share it with you. I'm gonna share it with you in a little bit. I'm gonna copy it here in the chat for right now, because if you wanna come in already, that's totally fine. Um, it's in the chat now, but I want you to start by making your own copy, right? Please make a copy before start writing on this. I had the unfortunate experience of a person who started writing his grant on the public template, and then people just started modifying his content, and it was everyone has access to this one, so don't don't write anything on this one. Just make your own copy, put your name in the front, right? Like Arturo, not Aruto, app, Arturo, individual app, individual artist, CAC 21. Okay. Right now, this is gonna stay like app template. Um, so take a moment to do that. Take 2 minutes to make your own copy. And we're gonna move really quickly to the next thing. Next week, we're going to take a moment to revise all of it. It's what is this? 3 pages in its purest form. Oh, this is important. At the very bottom of the application, I put something that I like to call the parking lot. And the parking lot is a place where you can, you're gonna be writing stuff along the way, and then you're gonna see like, oh, this phrase doesn't work anymore in this context, but it could be useful in the future. So you copy this part, you copy, or you actually you cut it, and you paste it in the parking lot. Okay, that way you don't discard material that could be useful in the future. In a good application, you will have a good chunk of parking lot. And that parking lot, what is cool about that parking lot is when you go through it, after you finish your application, you can actually form full sentences or even paragraphs that could be used in other grants. Maybe, oh, you know what, this paragraph is talking about my expertise or my experience with management of lights and sound in a theater. But maybe this is not the application where I get to talk about managing lights and sound in a theater. But we're gonna leave it right here, because when we are applying for another grant that actually asks me about my expertise on these areas, I can just come, copy, paste over there, tweak it, and I already have the work done. I don't have to do it twice, 3 times. So what is amazing about this particular application that we're going to be doing, guys, is that it focuses a lot on your practice as an artist. And this is going to be super useful material when you're applying for fellowships in the future. Okay, so you're doing the work of this grant and a number of grants in the future. So hooray about that. Hooray for that. Now, the last thing that we're going to focus on today, and this is your last homework that we're going to leave with you, is our very first question, your artist statement. Okay. It is pretty straightforward, and it is going to give us material to work on during your coaching session. Provide one sentence, okay? Here are the guidelines. Provide one sentence indicating your public stage name, public pen stage name, your artistic mediums or practices, and the central community with whom you work. 3 things. Your name, your artistic mediums, and the community, the central community. Oh, I don't have the letter N in my keyboard. Central community with whom you work. I'm gonna say something, Therese?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. So we have a tool for you to support you with it. It's not specific to this question, so I don't. You know what? I don't think that we're gonna share it with you at this time, because I don't want you to get confused. This is pretty straightforward, and I just want you to come, make a copy of this document, and write these 3 things. Okay. Through the week, when we work with you, you're gonna see what is the, what are the things, and you will start experiencing some things as you embark in this thing. You might feel like it's going to be a lot of information. You might feel like you don't have clarity on your answer. You might feel like there is too much, and 50 words is not enough space for enough space to actually encapsulate all of your practice. All of those things are totally okay. um, Feeling those things are completely okay. And the question becomes, are you willing to do it regardless, right? um, and the good news is that you have us here by your side, writing this with you, supporting you along the way, um, and making it happen all together. Do you guys have any questions, anything that comes up right now, looking at this, hearing it? Do you have any sense of challenge, any sense of disposition or anti-disposition? What is this, like challenging disposition? No, we're good. We're good. We're good. Perfect. 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 All right. Um, I think that yeah, I think that this is a good moment to wrap it up. What do you think? What do you think, Therese?
I wanted to thank everybody for being here, and just take a minute as our outro, maybe a minute to just talk about something that your takeaway from today's first session. So your takeaway and like what you're looking forward to, like for this week. I'll go first. My takeaway is we have to make sure we hit record early, earlier on, and I'm looking forward to setting up a time to talk to folks that I'm going to be supporting and see, what's possible. I'm going to pass it on to Arturo, and then Arturo, you can pass it on to the next person.
Oh, yeah. I just want to thank you for being here. I wanna ask you, raise your hand if you feel like our session today was of value. Was we accomplished things, we move forward with this. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to actually start coaching some of you guys. We're gonna take on. We're gonna. Therese and I are going to talk and work together in defining who's the best, that we are suited to coach, and you will be getting a message about that later today. Okay. And I'm just really looking forward to start spending time with you guys. Alex, Jano, Gabriel.
I'll go next. Yeah, no, I really appreciate the time that you all put into crafting this workshop. I feel like you did a great job at framing it in the previous meeting, and it's been. I think my biggest takeaway has been around like the sort of the daily habit and the need to build routines, and the power of those routines and daily practices to like, to get at that point around resetting sort of our assumptions and our the way that we approach the different types of work that we do, including this sort of grant writing work. So yeah, it feels exciting to be setting out on that road to build these new practices. So, and I'm excited to keep learning with all of you.
Perfect. Thank you.
My partner woke up, so I can speak now. But yeah, I think I appreciate the setup that you all did. Being very clear about the support that is being offered versus what we would like to happen, right, in terms of these funding opportunities. And that's something I definitely go back and forth with, right? But then just hearing it from you all, and hearing the transparency, right, and what's going to take to fund ourselves to also put in the work for the revolution is very great I think for me and for others to hear. So appreciate you both.
Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you.
Jano, you want to share something? Hold on, you're not. Your camera is on the side. I am seeing your fingers. There you go. Misfit. All right. Cool. Is that what you want to say?
I just want. I just wanted to say this is I'm just stream of consciousness here. Growing up outside of the United States, and then worshiping like bands, like let's say the Misfits, and then coming to the United States and seeing what it actually is like, and then being totally disappointed. Something about that. That's there is no context for what I'm saying, but that's just, I don't know, it's the first thing that came to my mind. Weezer, the band Weezer, not very good. I don't like them anymore. I just wanted to say that.
All right.
I feel like for me there's like a parallel there with like the like imagining a world, and then sort of getting there, and like there's something around the art world and the grant world that I feel, anyway, for me that struck me with that. Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Yes. And so enjoy this week. Enjoy setting the arena with your bodies. Enjoy your coaching sessions. For those of you who are not here and watching this, similarly, try to be very thorough. Try to honor the time of the person that you are engaging with every day. So that we can keep building this community. This is collaborative work. This is not, I want to be very clear about this. This is not us writing your grants. This is not us telling you exactly what to write. We are just providing you our knowledge and putting it on top of your wisdom, your experience, your practice, your ideas, your art to make something bigger, right? To fill this application, to submit it, to get clarity on how to keep these applications going and the grants coming, and making it all happen together. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. 2:05, just 5 minutes later. We did it, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Take care. Drink a lot of water. Wear your masks or not. I don't know. And I will see you next Saturday at 10 a.m. in this same link. Okay. I'll make sure that the link is clear for the next Saturday. All right. Take care.
Thank you all.
Bye.